Good morning. I'm going to talk about a very serious topic today that I think everyone needs to know about, especially you, because we have had in the past, maybe not at this school, but in other schools, teenagers get in trouble for this. And so I want you to know about what the Alabama law says about sexual consent. And I want you to feel free to ask questions or give input if you want to, okay? But remember, this is a very serious topic, okay? Consent is to permit, approve, or agree. This is the definition. Comply or yield. He consented to the proposal. We asked her permission, and she consented. When applied to sexual contact, it means that at the time of the act, there are actual words or physical conduct indicating freely given agreement. Okay, so do y'all understand the definition? Okay. You have to know this definition, okay? Now we're going to take a little pretest before we start the presentation. And I'm not going to make you write it down on your paper or anything like that. What I want you to do is just raise your hand. If you think it's true, raise your hand if you think it's false, those types of things, and we'll go from there. The age of consent in Alabama is 14. How many of you think that's true? Raise your hand. No one? Great. Now, so who thinks it's false? Okay, good job. Everybody thinks that's false. It is illegal for a minor to have, send, or distribute sexually explicit images of another minor. True or false? Probably true. Raise your hand if you think it's true. Raise your hand if you think it's false. Raise your hand if you don't know. Okay. If a couple are engaging in consensual sex, but one partner changes their mind midway through, all sexual activity must stop immediately. True or false? True. If you think it's true, raise your hand. Okay. False. Anybody think it's false? Let's go to the next one. If a partner responds to you want to have sex with sure, or I guess, that is technically a yes. True or false? How many thinks it's true? How many thinks it's false? How many don't know? Good job. That's why we're doing this video today. Individuals aged 15 and younger in Alabama are not legally able to consent to sexual activity, and such action could result in prosecution of statutory rape. True or false? If you think it's true, raise your hand. Think it's false, true, raise your hand. If you really don't know, raise your hand. Okay, I'm very glad we're doing this today. If a 17 and 15-year-old consent to sexual activity, it is illegal. Is it illegal? True or false? Raise your hand if you think it's true. Raise your hand if you think it's false. Okay, let's go. We're going to learn. The age of consent is the minimum age at which individuals is considered legally old enough to participate in sexual activity. The age of consent in Alabama is 16. One thing I want to say about this is if you move to another state, every state varies. For example, Tennessee, the age of consent is 18. Okay? So Alabama's a little low, a little young, I should say young. It is illegal for a minor to have, send, or distribute sexually explicit images of another minor. I want you to really pay attention to this slide because we've had several get in trouble for this. Teenagers caught sending or receiving explicit images of a minor, including images of themselves, could be prosecuted under the state's child pornography laws, obscenity laws, or material harmful to minors law. If convicted under Alabama law, an individual will generally need to be registered as a sex offender. Now, can someone tell me what a sex offender is? Okay.
Someone who rapes someone under the age of consent.
Okay, someone who rapes someone under the age of consent, that's one reason you could be a sex offender. If you rape anyone, you're going to be a sex offender. But what else? So let's say someone over the age of consent has sex with someone under the age of consent. And the one the partner that's not at the age of consent files charges. With that, the older one, I'll try to type here, with the older one, could he be charged as a sex offender? Yes. And let me tell you about a sex offender. A sex offender, once you're charged as a sex offender, and let's say you get 3 to 5 years in prison. After that 3 to 5 years, or 10 years, or 25 years, however many years you get, when you get out of prison, or if you just get charged and maybe you don't have to go to prison, it's not like you will always be a sex offender. You will always have to register as a sex offender, and let me tell you what registering as a sex offender means. Every year, all teachers in DeKalb County gets a little white book, or this year it was white, should I say, and it has pictures of all the sex offenders in DeKalb County. And so when we look at it, we know who is registered as a sex offender in DeKalb County. Not only that, the sex offender, if they move close to a church or to a school, they have to register, they have to send out a letter to everybody in that community and tell them, I live here and I'm a sex offender. So everybody in that community knows that they are a sex offender, okay? So let's say a boy age 18 and a girl age 15 has sex, and they're boyfriend and girlfriend. There's only 3 years difference, they're boyfriend and girlfriend. They decide to have sex. That 15-year-old, she is under the age of consent, right? So let's say, but she consented. She went ahead, she was willing, and they had sex, but the boy breaks the girl's heart. The girl's crying, talks to mom, and the parents find out that they have had sex. Those parents could charge him with rape, statutory rape, and he would have to register. If convicted, he would have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Do y'all understand that? This is very serious. No means no. If a couple are engaging in consensual sex, but one partner changes their mind midway through, all sexual activity must stop immediately. The law does not care if it breaks your heart. So I don't care if you're in the process of having sex and one partner says no, you have to stop. Okay? If your partner responds to you by saying, I guess, sure, or maybe, this is not a yes. Alabama law says a partner must completely agree. Your partner must say yes. If they do not say yes, you do not have consent. So if a boy or girl says, well, I guess we could, maybe, that doesn't mean they're giving them the yes. The yes means consent. Now, whatever we wear, wherever we go, yes means yes and no means no. Clothing is not consent. I don't care if a girl has on a mini skirt or shorts, well, let's say a mini skirt. A mini skirt, and she bends over and you can see it all. Or she's wearing a real revealing shirt and you can see everything. That does not mean she wants to have sex with you. And girls, if you see a boy that's got a six-pack, looking nice, shorts on, and he's flirting with you tremendously, doesn't mean he wants to have sex with you. Understood? Okay, now, let me say one thing about this slide. I almost didn't put it in because I don't want you to be confused, okay? But I always ask my students to be honest with me, and therefore I'm always going to be honest with you. So I went ahead and put this in, and if you have any questions about it, just ask, okay? The state of Alabama does have an exemption law. It's called the Romeo and Juliet law. In that states, if you're close in exemption, close in age, the exemption is designed to prevent the prosecution of underage couples who engage in consensual sex with participants are close in age to each other. And that close in age is 2 years, only 2 years. So, for example, a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. Now it has sex. Then that consent law there is an exemption because there are 2 years close in age, do y'all understand? Even though she's not really, or he is not really able to consent, if there's only 2 years, then that exemption does apply. Now, let me say one thing about this though. Let's say the girl is 14 years old and she'll be 15 in a week or a day or a month, and the parents find out, or the girl gets mad at the boy and decides she's gonna file statutory rape. Would that law apply to them? No, why? Because she has not turned 15 yet, okay? They must be exactly 2 years between them, no more than 2 years. Okay, is that understood? Doesn't mean if she's 14 today and 15 tomorrow, we can have sex today, okay? Now, we're gonna watch this video, and I hope it explains everything a little better than maybe I can. It went back. Okay,
Need help?
yes, I need help. Let's go back to the, can you click on that for me? There we go,
Yes.
there you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you're still struggling with consent, just imagine instead of initiating sex, you're making them a cup of tea. You say, "Hey, would you like a cup of tea?" And they go, "Oh my God, I would love a cup of tea, thank you." Then you know they want a cup of tea. If you say, "Hey, would you like a cup of tea?" And they're like, I'm not really sure. Then you could make them a cup of tea, or not, but be aware they might not drink it. And if they don't drink it, then, and this is the important part, don't make them drink it. Just because you made it doesn't mean you are entitled to watch them drink it. And if they say no thank you, then don't make them tea. At all. Just don't make them tea. Don't make them drink tea. Don't get annoyed at them for not wanting tea. They just don't want tea, okay? They might say, "Yes, please, that's kind of you." And then when the tea arrives, they actually don't want the tea at all. Sure, that's kind of annoying as you've gone to all the effort of making the tea, but they remain under no obligation to drink the tea. They did want tea, now they don't. Some people change their mind in the time that it takes to boil the kettle, brew the tea, and add the milk. And it's okay for people to change their mind. And you are still not entitled to watch them drink it. And if they're unconscious, don't make them tea. Unconscious people don't want tea. And they can't answer the question, "Do you want tea?" Because they're unconscious. Okay, maybe they were conscious when you asked them if they wanted tea. And they said yes. But in the time it took you to boil the kettle, brew the tea, and add the milk, they are now unconscious. You should just put the tea down. Make sure the unconscious person is safe. And this is the important part again. Don't make them drink the tea. They said yes then, sure, but unconscious people don't want tea. If someone said yes to tea, started drinking it, and then passed out before they'd finished it, don't keep on pouring it down their throat. Take the tea away. Make sure they're safe, because unconscious people don't want tea. Trust me on this. If someone said yes to tea around your house last Saturday, that doesn't mean they want you to make them tea all the time. They don't want you to come around to their place unexpectedly and make them tea and force them to drink it going, "But you wanted tea last week." Or to wake up to find you pouring tea down their throat going, "But you wanted tea last night." But if you can understand how completely ludicrous it is to force people to have tea when they don't want tea, and you're able to understand when people don't want tea, then how hard is it to understand it when it comes to sex? Whether it's tea or sex,
Can you stop it?
consent is everything.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so did you like that video? Did that, help you understand consent? It's kind of humorous, it's okay to laugh, but it still gets the point across. So, let's have the post-test, which is the same as the pre-test that we took a while ago, but I hope you've learned a little bit since then. The age of consent is in Alabama is 16. So that's false, right? Okay. It is illegal for a minor to have, send, or distribute sexually explicit images of another minor. True or false? True. If a couple are engaging in consensual sex, but one partner changes their mind midway through, all sexual activity must stop immediately. True. If a partner responds to you wanting to have sex with a sure, or I guess, that is a yes.
False.
False. It must be yes. Individuals aged 15 and younger in Alabama are not legally able to consent to sexual activity, and such action could result in prosecution of statutory rape. True. If there is an exemption, and this is it. If a 17 and 15-year-old consent to sexual activity, it is illegal. False. Okay? Because of what?
2 years.
Romeo and Juliet. Okay, silence does not equal consent. Clear consent is active. It is expressed through words or actions that create mutually understandable permission. Consent is never implied, and the absence of no is not a yes. I'm not sure, I don't know, and maybe are similar phrases, but they're not consent. Okay? Coherent. People incapacitated by drugs or alcohol cannot consent. Someone who cannot make rational, reasonable decisions because he or she lacks the capacity to understand the who, what, when, where, why, or how of the situation cannot consent. And people who are asleep or in another vulnerable position cannot consent. So if someone's just drunk, but they haven't passed out yet, can you have consensual sex with them?
No.
No, why?
Because they can process.
Right, they can't process right. They're- Okay? Willing. Consent is never given under pressure. Consent is not obtained through psychological or emotional manipulation. What is psychological or emotional manipulation? What would that mean?
Somebody telling you that if you don't do this with me, I'm going to like kill myself or something.
Okay, that's good. That's a good one. What else? Anybody else?
If you don't do it with me, I'm going to tell the entire school and share all your things or something.
Very good, very good.
It's basically just using something they care about to get you, them to do something for you. And
Very
that's-
good.
That's what emotional manipulation.
So, if someone says to you, you say you love me, but you don't want to have sex with me. So if you love me, you would have sex with me. Would that be emotional or psychological manipulation? Yes, of course it would. Consent cannot be obtained through physical violence or threat. So that would be kind of like what she said. If you don't have sex with me, then I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill you, or like she said, when she said, I'm going to share all your stuff with the whole school, or they're going to start a rumor about you, okay? Someone in an unbalanced power situation, for example, someone under your authority, cannot consent. So what that means is like when you get a job, or if you have a job, and your boss wants you to have sex with them, because you're under their authority, you cannot consent, because that's unbalanced power. So, and they might say to you, if you don't have sex with me, then you won't get a good schedule. Or if you don't have sex with me, then you won't get a new position. Or if you don't have sex with me, then you're going to get fired. Do you understand? Yes.
What if it's not, they're not pressuring them in any way, they're just like boyfriend or girlfriend or something?
Well, it would have to be, if someone is given the consent. But really, the Alabama law says if it's somebody under your authority, you should not have sex with them. So a boss should not have sex with someone that works under him, okay? Ongoing. Consent must be granted every time. Consent must be obtained at each step of physical intimacy. So example, if someone's kissing, that doesn't mean they're going to want to have sex with you, right? If someone consents to one sexual activity, she or he may or may not be willing to go further. So if they're kissing or engaging in other sexual activity, but they don't want to have sex, that doesn't mean that you can have sex with them. It's not consent. Understood? Any question about that? Consent is freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific. Y'all understand that? Consent is everything. So, Any questions for me about consent? Any? If you have a question, I'm sure someone else in the room does too, so no questions. Okay, I'm gonna give you some scenarios, and you tell me if in this scenario or in this situation, then the person is granted consent, okay? Oh, you got any glasses? I got any glasses. I can't read without reading glasses, I'm getting old, guys. Harry has his mate Justin over for the night. They are both 18 and love gaming. Harry falls asleep early and Justin ends up talking to Harry's little sister, Kyra, who is 15. One thing leads to another and they both decide that they want to have sex. Is it consensual? No. Tell me why. She's 15. And how old is he? 18. So it's more than 2 years. Very good. Mia and Arlo have been dating for years. They are both feeling in the mood to have sex and are both 19. At the last minute, Arlo suddenly thinks about his dog who died the day before and decided he's no longer in the mood to have sex. But Mia still is. And she gets angry when he says no to her. Would it be consent? No, why? Sydney and Liam met 2 years ago at their local gym. They have both been planning on having sex for a while, but wanted to wait until they were the legal age to have sex. They are both now the legal age, and now that she is the legal age, Sydney is nervous and unsure about her decision. She ends up drinking far too much at a party and then tries to have sex with Liam. And Liam is sober. Would it be consensual? No, why would it not?
She is under the influence of alcohol.
Because what?
She is under the influence of alcohol.
Very good, yes.
What if both people are drunk?
It's still not consensual.
But then if someone were to put charges on it, then how would that work? Because both of them couldn't have made a decision.
I don't know about that, but I know it wouldn't be consensual. And I don't know if both of them would get in trouble or what.
I was just saying.
I just wouldn't want to be accused of that or put in that situation.
I wouldn't either. I was just wondering how that would work in court, because
Right.
both people couldn't have made a right decision.
That's right, both of them, so it wouldn't be consent at all, would it?
Yeah.
Okay, good question though. Mickey and James have been together for 4 years. Mickey is 20 and James is 23. They have both had sex together in the past. Now James has decided he doesn't want to have sex as he's changed his mind about what he feels comfortable with Mickey. Mickey is trying to pressure him. Is it consensual? Would it be? No, why?
She's trying to pressure you.
He what?
Pressure.
He doesn't want to anymore. Very good. Lainey and Frank have known each other for 10 years. Lainey is 18 and Frank is 15. They are both ready to have sex and have talked about this with each other. Consensual or not? No, why? More than the 2 years. Very good. Sarah and Mark met 2 weeks ago. Both are 35. Sarah kissed Mark and then he asked if she wanted to have sex. Sarah wanted to. Would it be consensual?
Did she
Yes.
say yes?
Yes. Okay. Did you say did she say yes? Yes,
Or
she
was
said
it
yes.
sugar?
It was a yes. Okay. Okay, one more I think is all I have. Harper and Drew are friends who are both 20. Drew wants to have sex with Harper, but Harper doesn't want to and isn't attracted to Drew as more than a friend. Drew has told Harper that if she doesn't have sex with him, he will make up a rumor about her. Is that consensual? No. Why? Emotional manipulation, very good. Do y'all have any questions for me? Did y'all learn something today? Okay. And remember, this is very, very important for you to know, okay? And one thing I do want to say before I leave is this video is not promoting sex. I did not come in here to talk to you about promoting sex, or that if, as soon as you get to the age of 16, that it's okay to have sex. That's not what I'm saying, because abstinence is the best policy. And the reason why is because, right, even at 16, in my opinion, you are not emotionally stable to have sex, okay? Other things is, nothing is 100% safe that you won't get pregnant or get someone pregnant, okay? I had a friend that was on birth control, and she took birth control every day. She didn't skip, but the year after we graduated, she got pregnant, and she was on birth control. Condoms, we all know that condoms are not, or we should know, well, I'm gonna tell you now that you will know, that condoms are not 100% safe. You can still get pregnant. Also, pregnancy is not the only thing that you should worry about. It's STDs. Just because someone is beautiful, they're the most popular person in the school, doesn't mean they don't have an STD. And you do not want an STD, okay? Do y'all know what an STD is before I even, y'all know that? Sexually transmitted disease, okay? Any other questions? Or do you have a question?
What if you're on birth control and you use a condom?
It's still not 100%. Nothing is. Nothing is. Okay? Any other questions? Very good question, though. Okay. Then I'm done, and I'm gonna let y'all get back to English, okay?